There has never been a more important time to move in a vegan direction. Whether you're ready to start, restart, or re-energize your vegan or plant-based practice, this podcast is for you. I'm Michelle Olander, life coach, vegan, ADHD matriarch, travel lover, and smoothie loather. And I know that it's the details that get in the way of your vegan journey. But I like to believe that the obstacle is always the way. So every week we meet here where I translate the tools of life coaching and Stoic philosophy. I bring you actionable tips, some laughs, interesting guests, and vegan ideas for everyone at any age. All to help you veg your best. Episode 224, 30 Days of a Plant-Based Jumpstart. Dr. Sandra Musial from plantdocs.com. Welcome back, my Veg Your Bestie. Welcome. This is like hold the presses, stop everything. This episode, well, I thought it was so important to get it out to you before the end of the year that I texted Charlie and said, I know we already have something queued up for next week, but do you have time to get this one in first? We are jumping the queue to welcome back one of our most popular guests, Dr. Sandra Musial, MD from plantdocs.com, who's here with news from the plant-based medical community. Many of you will remember Dr. Musial, also known as Dr. Sandy, from her May 28th appearance. I think that was episode 195 earlier this year on the pod. And she spoke about prescribing food as medicine. Today, she's here to discuss the remarkable results of a just published study in the prestigious American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine. Dr. Musial and her colleagues designed a program called Jumpstart Your Health. That program asked a simple question: what happens when you switch to a whole food, plant-based diet, even for just 1 month? And the results were significant. In just 30 days, participants saw statistically significant improvements in blood markers across the board. There was weight loss, better heart health markers. We're talking about real people achieving real results and seeing meaningful improvements in key health indicators. But what's particularly exciting is what happened when participants started the program with higher health risks. These individuals saw even more dramatic improvements. And Dr. Musial is here today to break down these findings, explain the study, what they mean for anyone interested in taking more control of their health through the power of plants. And she'll also share insights into how this simple 1-month program could be a game changer in the fight against chronic diseases that affect millions of Americans. Dr. Musial will also tell you how you or someone you love can take advantage of the next Jumpstart, which is beginning in January 2025. And okay, that's it. That's enough from me. I'll see you on the other side. Dr. Sandra Musial from plantdocs.com. Welcome to Veg Your Best again.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's not often we have somebody back, but you've got some interesting information to present back to the Veg Your Best audience, and we're delighted to have you here. And let's just recap a little bit. Tell me quickly what plantdocs.com is.
Thank you. So Plant Docs is a nonprofit organization based in Providence, Rhode Island, that helps people learn to eat more plant-based foods in order to prevent or reverse their chronic diseases. So that's the short answer.
The short answer. And you were on not so long ago to talk all about plantdocs.com. And you have throughout the year different jump starts where people can work with you in person sometimes and also online, virtually, and spend, typically it's 30 days. Is that the usual?
It's 1 month, 5 sessions. They're called Jumpstart Your Health, and they're 1 month programs that can be done fully remote or hybrid, part in person, part remote. We offer them several times a year. And the idea is to get a group of people together that are motivated to kind of get healthy and learn how to kind of jump all in to plant-based nutrition for improvement in health. And some people are really ready. They maybe just had a heart attack, or they have been to the doctors and their cholesterol's high. The doctor wants to start them on a statin medication and they're not interested. Or maybe they have high blood pressure and they've tried high blood pressure medicine and they're getting a lot of side effects. And then they read something that says, you know, if you change your diet to more plant-based, maybe you don't need these medicines. And then the other group of people that come to me is sometimes people have type 2 diabetes or they're diagnosed with pre-diabetes. That's when your A1C is starting to creep up, but it's not in the type 2 diabetes range yet. So the sugars are getting a little high and they want to reverse that. And so all of those conditions can be improved or reversed completely with a whole food plant-based diet. So I bring this group of people together, and over 5 sessions, we educate them on, you know, what does that mean, whole food plant-based diet, and how do you actually do it? So we literally do a shop with a doc at a supermarket, which can be done remotely or in person. We teach them how to read labels. We teach them how to plan their meals, like what are you really going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And I think the kicker, the thing that really sets our program apart, is that we draw labs in the beginning, and then we repeat the labs at the end. And we also gather blood pressure, weight, and calculate BMIs for everyone. And so at the end of the program, any labs that were abnormal in the beginning, we repeat in the end and see these kind of crazy, remarkable, beautiful, positive results.
So you have data.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. And this is why you're back, is because you've actually published some of this data of 150 people who've gone through this program with you, who've in 30 days, the results that they've had with some of these metabolic function tests. And well, you explain to me what the tests are typically that have been tested.
Sure. So we test for 4 different things. One is for the type 2 diabetes that I mentioned. So we do a fasting glucose and a hemoglobin A1C. We test for the lipid panel. So that's a fasting. It includes cholesterol, HDL, which is your good cholesterol, LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, triglycerides, which also you don't want high. And we calculate a ratio in there. We also do a marker of inflammation called HSCRP. It's kind of a mouthful of letters, but it stands for high sensitivity C-reactive protein. And it's a little more specific for heart disease. And it is like a short-term marker, meaning that it's one of those things that as your inflammation goes up and down throughout like the week, this lab value goes up and down. So you can check it at the beginning of the month and the end of the month and see significant drop. The last thing we do is the liver enzymes, and they're called AST and ALT, and they're markers of fatty liver disease. And fatty liver disease is something that's not, the most common thing of all the things we see, but it is becoming more and more common in the United States. And the most common cause is obesity and excess caloric intake. And if gone unchecked, fatty liver disease turns into this more serious inflammation in the liver called NASH. And then it can proceed to cirrhosis, which is irreversible and fatal. So the good news is when you catch it early as fatty liver disease or NASH, it's reversible with dietary changes. So that's why we check. All these things we check for are markers of things that can be reversed with a change in your diet. And so that's why we chose these labs.
And so this is something I know most of us who maybe have swallowed the Kool-Aid about wanting to eat more whole food, plant-based. We talk to people all the time and they go, yeah, 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 yeah. That it's genetic. Don't it makes no difference. It makes no difference. What we have is not just anecdotal. It's not just that you as a physician believe this, have seen this. We now have actually a study that you've published, and I imagine you're going to be publishing loads more studies as this goes by. But would you tell us a little bit about the abstract of this study that you've published recently?
Sure. So basically, the most important thing is during the month, we see significant, and when I say significant, it's a statistical term. It means that I worked with a very smart professor, Patricia Risica at the Brown School of Public Health. And she took all the data because I had been collecting all these numbers from July of 2019, and the 150 people took me through April of 2022 because of COVID. We had to take a year and a half off of what we were doing. But I didn't know. I mean, we were seeing these amazing results, but I didn't know if they were statistically significant. So she looked at all the data, and what we found was that for people that came in with abnormal values in the beginning, meaning they were overweight or had high blood pressure or high cholesterol, they had abnormal values to begin with, we see a statistical drop, and I'll kind of go over. People lose about 1 pound a week, which is statistically significant. And it may not sound like a lot for people who like, oh, I have to lose 50 pounds. I want to lose 10 pounds a week. That is not a healthy approach to weight loss. And this isn't a weight loss program. I always say that to people. Like, this isn't about weight loss. It's about learning to eat healthy, learning to nourish your body, your cells, and your gut biome so you can have the healthiest body, the healthiest functioning body. And that happens to mean that you get to a healthier weight. So that rate of weight loss of 1 pound a week is the rate that works. It, like, your body isn't get triggered into this. When you lose weight too fast, it goes into this, what we call starvation mode, and it triggers these hormones that make you feel hungry and then result in overeating. And that's why people who go on and off diets have that, they call it like yo-yo dieting, and weight dramatically can go up and down. This 1 pound a week is just like a nice, healthy rate of weight loss. But blood pressure is the other thing that is statistically comes down 10 points for systolic and 8 points for diastolic. That's the top and the bottom number on your blood pressure in just 1 month. So what's happening there is, as you're eating like leafy greens and whole grains, it's nourishing the endothelial lining of your blood cells, all your arteries, and it actually stimulates something called nitric oxide, not to get too sciencey, but it's one of the most potent vasodilators or blood vessel relaxers that we have. So when you eat leafy greens like kale or Swiss chard, it's kind of like it's a food as medicine. It's bathing all your blood vessels so that they can relax and help drop your blood pressure. So typically it's, in 1 month, you're not just going to fix a years long problem with hypertension, but it's a start. And over the course of several months of eating this way and in kind of embracing this new lifestyle way of eating, more healthy choices, blood pressure can get to a normal range without medications. So that's very exciting. And then the other, the blood values are total cholesterol and LDL both drop significantly. And everybody knows about, high cholesterol is bad for you and leads to hardening of the arteries and can ultimately lead to heart attacks and strokes, erectile dysfunction, chronic kidney disease, anywhere your blood flows to. Oh, and, blood vessel related dementia. All of these things are from unhealthy vasculature or blood vessels. So when you see a drop in your cholesterol and your LDL, you're helping the health of all your blood vessels. So, the cholesterol is dropping 38 points and the LDL 22 points in just 1 month. So it's going to continue to drop as you continue to eat healthy. And then the other thing is the A1C, which is a marker of diabetes, drops 0.2 on the percentage, which is it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's statistically significant, and it can take a lot of people from prediabetes into normal or diabetes into prediabetes zone. So the other thing we notice with diabetes is people come off some of their medications or need to reduce their insulin dose within a week or two. So the diabetics are very fun to work with because the improvement in their health is so rapid. Because what's happening in diabetes is type 2 diabetics can make insulin. They just can't use it well because they have insulin resistance in their cells. And when you start to eat healthy, the cells start functioning better and waking up and suddenly start responding to the body's own insulin. So if they're injecting it, they stop needing that. So it's so satisfying to see like their bodies just get healthier and come to life just within a few weeks of nourishing foods. And then the last marker that is statistically significant is the HSCRP. That's the inflammatory marker I noticed. And everyone kind of knows about chronic aches and pains, things just like hurting, waking up achy or going to bed achy, or you do something and you're achy. And like this is all about inflammation. And inflammation underlies a lot of chronic diseases, including everything I've mentioned so far: diabetes, obesity, heart disease. So when you reduce your inflammatory marker, people notice it immediately. They have more energy, they have fewer aches and pains, and they just feel better. And so that's basically a long summary of the abstract and the significant findings that we reported in our paper. And here's a copy of our paper that I'm so proud of, because it really took 5 years of collecting the data from the patients actually running the programs, but then also analyzing the data and writing it up and having the statistics. I mean, kind of a ridiculous number of tables in here that are necessary to really report the data in a way that's understandable for scientists.
Because the point of publishing in a journal, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it is reproducible, that other people can be looking at what you specifically did, what evidence you gathered, what labs you took. And so your peers, other medical professionals, can experiment with similar practice.
Yeah. And also, like, you can look at this and say, like as a company maybe, or as a insurer, a medical insurance company, do I want to throw money at educating people to eat whole food, plant-based? Is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. Think how much money we would save, the medical insurers would save, if they reduced the prevalence of type 2 diabetes and heart attacks. We'd have such a healthier nation. So it kind of gives a good reason to do this. And it's not just some, fad. It's science. It's, I think it can be confusing for people to know what really is the healthiest thing to eat. There's a lot of fad diets out there that sound like the people that are behind it make it sound healthy, like, oh, this is how our ancestors ate, like the paleo diet. But when you really look at the data for like the paleo diet or the carnivore diet, these are not heart healthy diets. These lead to cardiovascular disease and early death. So,
yeah, and our paleo ancestors were just trying to live to reproduce. Basically, they weren't trying to do what I'm trying to do, which is see my grandchildren get married and graduate from college, and
right,
have a little bit of a different goal, perhaps, of longevity. So, and what's fascinating about this study is all of this study is about 30 days. It's 1 month.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a year or 6 months or an inpatient situation or going to a spa or something and having people create your foods for you. This is individual people. And you said the average age was in the low 50s, I think, right?
52.
So this is not people who are at 25 making a big change and when their bodies are still very full of human growth hormone. This is for people in midlife.
Right. I wish there were more young people interested, but unfortunately, as like heart disease is developing and blood pressures, what's being laid down that's going to lead to blood pressure in the 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, we don't become aware of it till the 50s and 60s. So people come to me usually in their 50s and 60s and 70s even wanting to make a change. They're realizing that like when you're 20, you don't care how you're going to feel when you think 60 is old, right? And now that I'm 59, like the 60s is young. And so when people get to this age, I think they have a better appreciation for being healthy in their 70s and 80s. Like people can, my mom's 94 and she's doing amazing. So, you can live a healthy, positive, long life. Nobody wants to be like in chronic pain and in and out of the hospital. Like that doesn't sound like fun. But if you're like going on vacation and taking cruises and hiking in the woods and cooking for your neighbors, like, life is great.
And so what I feel like, what do the kids call it? The too long don't read. But the TLDR of this is you can do it in later midlife. It will make a difference.
Yeah.
Will it make enough of a difference? It depends, of course, on your particulars, the details of how much illness you have, what else is going on with you. But you can actually make a difference in 30 days.
Yeah. I mean, the earlier the better, but every day we make 30 or 50 billion new cells every day. So if you really think about that, even when you're older, where are we getting the building blocks to make all these new cells? So when you make a change like this, no matter what your age, all those new cells that are being created are going to be healthier ones than the ones you had. So it's never too late. I love that about our bodies. Our bodies want to be healthy and we're always regenerating. And we have new information. Like when I went to medical school, I learned that like your nervous system, that's it. You never make new nerve cells. And now we're realizing, oh, actually you can. And you can, like there is plasticity in the brain for change and, improvements. So it's very positive, kind of that research.
That must be very satisfying as a physician also to be working in this way. Obviously, we need the interventions for real issues, for emergencies, but to be able to like help people bring their home kitchen, their grocery shopping to be part of their healing, to be part of their future, just seems like it's a new way of being a physician in this world. And I guess that is what the American Academy of Lifestyle Medicine is trying to create.
Right. And the other big piece of this whole lifestyle medicine that I didn't mention and is part of our program is cooking. Because you have to learn to cook. Yes, you have to cook from scratch. I mean, yes, there's some food delivery places, but most of the convenience foods and ready-made foods have oils, they have sugar, they have all kinds of additives and processed flours. So a really important part of the Jumpstart is teaching people to cook again with like whole plant-based foods like whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, and unprocessed fruits and vegetables. And for people to realize it's not hard, like it's really doable and it can taste delicious. So that's a big part of our program is includes cooking classes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and lots of recipes. And on plantdocs.com, we have a whole section of recipes that are accessible to anyone. They're free, and videos, cooking videos showing people how to make foods. They're very amateur, but they're they're out there for your entertainment and knowledge.
So we can begin with plantdocs.com to get a lot of information. But in January, you have the next Jumpstart. So please tell us a little bit about Jumpstart, how people who are not just in the Providence, Rhode Island area, how we can maybe be part of your studies and be part of what you teach so well, and what it entails for them.
Thank you. Yeah. So at plantdocs.com, if you go under programs and Jumpstart Your Health, there's information about the program. I love talking to people before they sign up. So anyone can call me or email me, and it's all on the website. So when you sign up, you'll get information about the Jumpstart, about the portal that has all this information that you'll have access to on the website, only for Jumpstarters, and specific recipes that we're going to go over during the program. And then what happens is I email everyone a lab slip, unless they've had labs drawn recently, which I can use those instead. And I mail it, and they print it out and bring it to their lab and have their labs drawn. And they have to use their insurance company to go through the labs, because the cost of the program is $350, and the labs might even cost more than that. I don't know. So, but for the most part, insurance covers the lab fees. And then we send you a Zoom link, and at the first class, everyone meets one another, whether they're on Zoom or live, and we walk you through the whole program. There's lots of emails during the program. People can email me at any time during the program with questions that they have. So it's very pretty concierge-y. I hold people's hands throughout the whole process if they're struggling or they need extra help or they have questions about cooking or products. And then afterwards, we do the same thing with the labs. And it also includes a 30-minute consultation with me after the program to talk about the labs and what their goals are going to be moving forward.
And one of the things I know you mentioned to me, that there's you call it a shop with a doc, shop with the doc. And so that's one thing I know people, we get into maybe a rut or maybe into a fast way of handling our supermarket shop. And we know what we know and we don't know what we don't know. And I would imagine that this is very helpful to have the opportunity to have someone help you with your list and help you examine the ingredients that you're looking at. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's all about reading labels. So, some of it's about demystifying that huge leafy green section that a lot of people just pass by because they're like, I don't know what to do with that. So we do talk about that. We talk about the whole grain section. But then when it comes to more, semi-processed foods like hummus, for example, or marinara sauce or almond milk or, oat milk, you got to read the labels. It's not about the macros, which is protein, carbs, and fat. Like our country is obsessed right now with protein. And what really matters is what is in it. Like, what are you putting in your body? I don't care about the macros. If oil is the second ingredient in your oat milk, put it back. Like, you don't want to be drinking oil. That's not good for your heart or inflammation. So like, we walk people through reading label food choices in every food category. And for remote people, I made a video and had a Brown student edit it for me. One of the wonderful things about being in Providence is I have these Brown medical students and undergrads that are always eager to help out with these projects, and they're awesome. So somebody made this video for me that I share with people. And just another shout out to the Brown students. They, two of them are co-authors on that paper that I mentioned that really helped with data analysis and contacting patients to really, get all the results together and help write the paper, as well as a Brown family medicine resident. So it was a team effort to get that paper published.
So with the shopping, with the foods, if I read the abstract and looked a little bit through the journal article, if I read it correctly, these participants were not 100% plant-based whole food. They were like normal people transitioning to new ways of eating, shopping, sharing foods with their families, traveling. They were just trying to be primarily whole food, plant-based. So these kinds of improvements do not require a complete overhaul of every single meal and relationship that you have.
Right. That's what's so impressive about these results. We weren't providing food. So they weren't, and we weren't watching what they were eating. It was up to them to what degree they ate whole food, plant based. They could have been eating, I don't know what. So we did ask them. So we'd have some of an idea. We know that, on average, they were eating better, more plant based foods than before. But even despite that, we're seeing significant results.
Mm.
What I have noticed, I will say, is what we call in the doctor world, it's dose dependent. So in general, the kind of more you go all in, the more dramatic you're going to see your LDL drop. And I don't have science to back that up, but that's what we witness. So people that are like, well, I have to use up all the beef in my freezer before and so they end up eating all this meat during the program because they're trying to use it up or they don't want to waste it. Like they're not going to see that drop in LDL. That's someone that's kind of a little more committed. But I always tell people, like, wherever you're at, there's always, we just help people move along the spectrum toward healthier eating. And there is some good science that even small changes, like replacing one dinner a week that was, before maybe meat-based, like, for example, meat tacos, you switch to black bean tacos, or instead of a burger, a meat burger, you switch to a veggie burger. Just one dinner a week results in significant decreases in mortality and heart disease. They're called substitution studies, and there's a lot of those out there. So you don't have to go be a vegan, or people are like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about moving in the right direction of healthier eating, more fruits and vegetables, more whole grains, more legumes, nuts and seeds, and starting to maybe decrease the amount of processed junk that's in the typical American diet.
So we don't need to say, oh gosh, I can't do the January Jumpstart with Plant Docs with Dr. Musial this January. I can't do that because I have a wedding or I've got a big birthday and there's no way I'm not going to eat my birthday cake or wedding cake, or there's no way I'm just not ready for it.
Or I'm traveling for a week. I hear that. Right. No excuses, because it doesn't matter. What's most important is your health. And the sooner you make the change, the better. So it's fine. These are normal life things where you go to parties and there's this amazing chocolate cake and you want to try it, have a piece. And a lot of what we teach is mindful eating too. So enjoy that piece of chocolate cake and don't feel guilty about it or beat yourself up about it. Like, it's okay to have food that maybe isn't the best choice for your heart or brain or whatever, but then eat a big kale salad and, smile and it's okay. And when if people are going away on vacation, we actually record all the sessions and send them to everybody. So if you miss a session or you have a work, whatever, conflict, you can catch up.
So there's no excuse. Sorry, guys.
No excuses. And for one more excuse, I can't afford it. We do offer scholarships for people that can't afford the $350. So just contact me personally if you're interested in doing it, but you can't swing the $350.
And so the requirements to be in a Jumpstart are, I think I read, you have to be over 18, speak English.
That was just the study.
That was just the study. Okay.
Yeah. But you do need to speak English because right now we're only offering it in English. Although we did do one in Spanish 2 summers ago, and it was fabulous. So that's a goal of mine in the future, is to start having regular ones in Spanish. You can do it if you're under 18, but I need to just make sure the person is mature enough and maybe their permission from their parent to do it.
So basically everybody can take part. Okay. What else do we need to know? And the other thing is, I think you told me there's only 3 Jumpstarts scheduled for 2025. So it would be great to consider this earlier rather than later, if that's something that matters to you, or to somebody in your family who you really think could take advantage of this kind of education. What else do we need to know about Plant Docs in coming up in 2025?
Well, in addition to the Jumpstarts, we also offer monthly cooking classes that are fully remote. And the theme for 2025 is going to be farm to table. So we're going to celebrate the local farmers and the produce that's available locally. So, and there's a lot of reasons why I wanted to do this. One is that food that is purchased locally and has a minimal time between the date that it's picked and the date that you eat it, you're maximizing the nutrient density from the food, way more nutritious than if it's needed to travel for a week from Argentina, for example. Also, it's good for the earth because the number, we call it food miles. If you decrease the number of food miles, you're decreasing the carbon footprint. And I also want to support local farmers. Our local farmers, especially our local organic farmers, are not supported the way they need to be. So I'm hoping to partner with some local farmers to bring some attention to the important work that they're doing. And so doing one of our cooking classes, it's $25 a class, or if you buy a bundle of 3 or 6 or 12, it's much cheaper per class. And we send you the ingredient list. And so the idea is we all cook together at the same time. So it's really fun. So we're chopping kale at the same time, and people can ask questions like, does this look right? Or should I cut it smaller? Or is this sauce, is yours this thin? So people talk. It's really fun. And our little Zoom cooking class, people slowly get to know one another. And it's a great way to kind of see what we do and how we teach without the commitment of the full Jumpstart. So some people do a couple of cooking classes first, and then they'll do a Jumpstart. And then the other thing I offer is private consultations, one-on-one, remote or in person, for an hour. And I go over your whole medical history, all your medications. I'll review your labs, and kind of together we'll come up with what's, some suggestions for improvement if you want to kind of optimize your nutrition and eat plant-based in a better, like maybe you're doing it, but you don't feel like you're doing it quite right, or you're not getting enough calcium because you have osteoporosis, or, so I can talk about those specifics with you one-on-one.
And what is the cost for that, Dr. Musial, for a one-on-one consultation?
The one-on-one consultations are $199.
$199. Well, that's very affordable for something of that sort, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So I know that you have said these prices do not actually cover the cost of what is created, the follow through, the medical time. How can we, if we are someone who would like to be part of the solution in helping people get access to the kind of work you do, are there ways that we can support Plant Docs?
Yeah, thank you. So Plant Docs is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we accept donations on our website. That would be lovely. All of the money that we raise goes toward creating these programs and scholarships for people who can't afford them. And I'll just say I haven't paid myself in 3 years because I really haven't figured out how to kind of, if I really charged, it would, the right amount to pay myself, it would be $1,500 per person in order to do the Jumpstarts. But I want them to be affordable and accessible to more people. So that's why we're trying to keep it at the $350 price. And I think we're going to try to do a better job, as, we're a new organization, to get some grant funding in order to support the work that we do.
That's another thing. If any listeners know foundations and groups that do this sort of outreach to support work like this would be a great website to shoot over to them, plantdocs.com. Dr. Sandra Musial. Doctor, please, before I let you go, is there anything else you would like us all to know? Your metaphor of how many millions of cells we're creating every day, and that we're just trying to give them half a chance by letting the building blocks of what we're creating be powerful, nutritious, clean things that we're creating the rest of our body and the rest of our lives with. What else can you let us understand about Plant Docs and your work before I let you go?
Yeah, I think people think, especially if they're foreign to this, where like your plate always looks like, meat, potatoes, and a veggie, and that's just what you've known your entire life, which I get because that's how I was raised. People think it's going to be really hard and that you're going to eat the same thing all the time. So those are myths that I'd like to bust. Like, it is not hard. And that's one of the things I hear from people who finish the program and really embrace what we're teaching. They're like, this is way easier to do than I ever thought and way more powerful. And things are tasty. We have this whole file of oil-free sauces that make, like, we have queso cheeses made from carrots and cashews and cauliflower that you would never know. It's it's just this delicious cheesy sauce that doesn't clog your arteries. And you can make Asian food and Indian food. So there's lots of ethnicities that inspire different flavors to make the food really interesting and with a lot of variety. So that's one of the things. I'm partnering with different chefs and culinary experts to, really offer food that's delicious and nutritious.
So the only thing we have to lose is our excuses with this. It sounds like it's win-win, and you don't have to go into a Jumpstart or into a consult with you knowing everything changes today. It doesn't have to be a scary thing. We can all kind of bring our real lives to you and say, listen, this is the big stumbling block for me. This is the part that I can't imagine, and let you help us with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people just will let's just start with breakfast. Let's just start with your milk, whatever smallest change, and go from there and build on that.
Dr. Musial, thank you so much. Dr. Sandra Musial from plantdocs.com. Thank you for being back on Veg Your Best.
Thanks for letting me share my study. It was really great. Thank you.
So what did you think of Dr. Sandra Musial? Dr. Sandy makes this case so succinctly, doesn't she? Our bodies create something like 300 billion, that's with a B, cells every day. And what are the building blocks that our body is using to make those cells? The results of Plant Doc's Jumpstart Your Health program are really exciting because they are statistically significant from a scientific standpoint, showing that in just 1 month of following a mostly whole food plant-based diet, participants can experience significant health improvements. So if you are interested in learning more about the Jumpstart Your Health program or checking out the free recipes and the cooking videos, please, I hope you'll visit plantdocs.com. There are also monthly cooking classes you can take, and there are scholarships available for those who need financial assistance. So if you or maybe someone you love knows they need this jumpstart in the new year, please do reach out to Dr. Sandy. She will answer your questions personally. She'll help you see if this is the program for you. And if you're someone who wants to be part of making programs like the Plant Docs Jumpstart Your Health available to more people, the end of the year is a great time to make a donation. The links are in the show notes, or you can just go to plantdocs.com, DOCS, docs, plantdocs.com. And my Veg Your Bestie, wherever you are on this vegan journey, the message is the same. It's not too late, right? It's not too late to veg your best. Veg Your Best podcast production, music, and editing by Charlie Weinshank. Thanks, Charlie. Before you go, it would mean so much to me and the Veg Your Best team if you would hit subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, or share with someone you think might be interested. Something about algorithms, it helps bump us up a little in the rankings, and that's the best way to help others find the podcast and for us to find our audience. So until next week, make it easy and veg your best.